Hey, Bonnie. Come on in. Oh, my gosh. I think we may need to have them turn up the air conditioning. Okay, well, first of all, let me just say welcome to NLP Power / NLP Today. My name is David Snyder, a.k.a. David Van Ark, depending on which website of mine you come across. It was a horrible branding accident done terribly wrong. I want to welcome everybody to today's topic, which is magnetic or money magnet mastery. How to tap in to the law of attraction, eliminate your limiting beliefs, and get money flowing into your life by your standards and definitions, the way you want it, right away. Now, one of the things I should let you know about is I am actually simulcasting this through Instant Teleseminar, so there will be an actual teleseminar call recording available of this meetup. There will also be a video, which I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to release. I will decide that after I review the quality of it. But for anybody who's here tonight, I will give you a copy of that call for free. It's yours, just for coming out. It's my way of tithing to you, which is something that we're going to talk about. When we talk about becoming magnetic to money, we have to think about several things before we get into drills. And by the way, one of the things that a couple of ground rules. I don't care if you've been in this field, in the hypnosis field, the NLP field, for 20 years or 20 minutes. All I really care about is that you have a sincere desire to come and learn, have a good attitude, want to do the drills, get the skills, and have a good time. I started these meetups because I just love to do cool stuff. Anybody here like to do cool stuff? Raise your hands if you like to do cool stuff. Anybody here like to hang out with cool people who like to do the same cool stuff you do? Raise your hands. All right, look around because you're in a room full of friends. All right? When I first started this, I had no intention of ever conducting any full-blown trainings. I had no intention of ever certifying people in anything. It was something I wanted to do for me. I used to run one of the largest NLP and hypnosis practice organizations in the world. Some of you may have heard of the Sleepwalkers. The Somnambulistic Sleepwalkers, Sleepwalkers International. We had chapters in probably 30 states and at least 5 or 6 countries. We were the world's largest free hypnosis and NLP practice group. We were a worldwide network of cool people getting together to practice and do cool stuff. Why did we do that? Well, one of the reasons was we all had trainings, we were all interested in all these cool things. We came out of the trainings with these cool certificates and couldn't do a damn thing. Anybody ever have that experience? You come out of a training, all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I have the certification, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how to do it. I feel like everybody knows more than me. How do I get my handle on this? Okay. The rest of you are lying. I get it. It's okay. Nobody wants to admit that, but that's the way it is. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Okay. But that's how we got started. And from there, the world changed. We really did change the world. And when I decided to come out of mothballs, I decided we're going to take that same spirit and we're going to build an even powerful, stronger community, creating the abilities for you guys to go out in the world and get what you want by your standards and definitions. I don't care what it is you want. My job is to give you the tools to help you go out and get it. Would that be cool? Sure. Okay. So, let's talk about what the heck is money? What is money?
Time and energy.
Time and energy. Ooh. I'm going to use a different color. I don't have my green marker, so. But we're going to do a lot of drills today. So by the way, how many people have some experience with hypnosis? Raise your hands. Okay, how many people have absolutely no experience with hypnosis whatsoever? Cool, I got great news. You're all going to learn hypnosis today. And you know what? It's going to be so easy you won't even realize you're doing it. Okay? There's a lot of myth that hypnosis is hard. It's not. It's one of the easiest things you can do. And we're going to give you a very simple 4-stage process. Tell them to do this, test it. 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 By the time you hit the 4th step, they're done. They're in trance and they're ready for whatever process you want to run them through. And it's not about belief. It's about giving them a simple, clear instruction, testing to see if they've done it, and moving on to the next step. That's it. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with them except their willingness and ability to follow your instructions. If you follow the instructions, you will get the results. Does that make sense? Okay. Money, time, and energy. I used to think that too.
It's an exchange of value.
What's money?
It's a symbol, an exchange of value, perceived value.
Symbol, exchange of value. Okay. What's money, Bonnie?
It's like a bartering.
Bartering?
Exchange.
Bartering and exchange. What's money?
Dollars and cents.
Dollars and cents. Okay. What's money?
Point system.
Point system. I like that. Are you winning the game or not? Hey? Victor, what's money?
A means to purchase goods.
Means to purchase. What's money? I do said time and energy. What's money? I know you're wealthy, so.
How can you tell? Security and...
Security. By the way, when it comes to money, there are 10 different money type personalities. Each one has its own unique characteristic and way of moving through the world, none of which are wrong. Okay? Yes, sir?
Freedom.
Freedom. Ooh, I like that one. Okay? Ryan, what's money?
I kind of think of it as like energy, like life force.
Energy, life force.
As far as like primal response to it.
Is somebody wanting to get in here and not being able to get in? Is that what this is about? I think it's Mark.
Don't tell them not to go in the open door.
Hi, what's your name?
Betty.
Betty. Oh, Betty Flint, right?
Yes.
Yes, I remember you. What's money?
What I don't have enough.
Oh, you don't have that. Well, that's honest. What's money?
Everything's energy exchange.
Energy exchange. See a lot of metaphysical people in here. Good. Bodie, what's money?
Energy.
Energy.
Medium of exchange.
Okay. I'm seeing a lot of young lady back here, all the way in the back. What's money?
I can take this form of energy.
Form of energy? Okay. All right. I think we know where this is going. Mark, what's money?
It's a representation of value that allows you to get goods and services.
Ooh, I like that word, value. We're going to talk a lot about value today. Why? Because you have to have a certain mindset if you want to be a money magnet. If you want to be the kind of person that actually attracts money into your life, there's a certain mindset that you need to embrace. Okay? James, what's money?
Transferable IOU.
A transferable IOU. Very cool. All right, let's talk about...
Money's what I spent to get here today.
Yes, you did. You invested to get here today.
True.
Because let me tell you something. Here's my commitment to you. Anybody who knows me knows that when asking me a question is like trying to sip from a fire hose. Okay? Because before you know it, this torrent of information comes out and you're not sure what parts you're supposed to get. Trust your unconscious mind to pull out the parts that are most relevant to you at this time. Each and every time you go through that audio or you watch this video, the parts you need next will naturally come into your awareness in such a way that you can begin to assimilate it and use it automatically to move yourself further along towards your goals. Would that be cool? Okay. Now, let's talk about value. You have two kinds of value that you have to deal with. You have intrinsic value, what I call the big V. And you have little value, or which is basically the value of the service and transformation you provide. And there's actually a formula I derived while I was thinking about this stuff today. There's actually a formula. Most people, when they talk about money, they're thinking about time for effort, money for time, money for energy. Okay? The intrinsic value that you have is based on your identity, on your self-esteem. It's how you see yourself. John Assaraf, who's a colleague of mine, I wouldn't say we're friends, but we hang around in the same circles and we have dinner from time to time. He likes to say, no matter how hard you try, no matter how many classes and trainings you go to, you will never outperform or out-earn your level of self-worth and self-esteem. I've found that to be true. You can find examples of that everywhere you go. Okay? People win the lottery. 6 months later, they're broke, and not only are they broke, they had a nervous breakdown. Why? Because the external reality didn't match the internal one. If you get something that in your own sense of mind and body you don't feel you deserve or is right for you, you will find a way to negate it or lose it. Period, end of story. Okay? Yes, sir. Do you have a question or are you just scratching? Okay, good. So it's getting a little warm here. Is it okay if I take this off? All right. All right. So we're going to go through a couple of Q&A periods today, mostly because the better the questions I get, the better the information I can give you. Okay? But my goal is that, you see, each and every one of you, when you came here today, you had something in your life that you really wanted. Now, maybe it was money, maybe, but I'm willing to bet that it was actually something that money would get you. Would that be true? Mm-hmm. Okay. In the marketplace, which is how we primarily derive our income, our money, our value is determined by the transformation that we offer people, times the reach we have, times the value that we are willing to accept for it. Understand that? That is deservingness. Okay?
Would you be able to repeat that slowly one more time?
Yes, I can. Understand that when we talk about big value, we're talking about your identity, your self-esteem. That's a much deeper level of change work than we can go into tonight. But understand that it is a factor. I do have an entire program dedicated to changing this. And it's amazingly powerful. We'll have some people stand up and talk to you about it. I'm not going to offer it to you today. I'm just telling you that we do this, but that's not where we're going today. Does that make sense? We're going to talk about this, because if you can change this, you can change everything. But you have to understand these components. The value that you offer, that you bring to the world, outside of your intrinsic value, is determined by the transformation that you offer, that you provide. What is the thing that you give to people that is your specific goal, your gift to the world? Does that make sense? Times the reach, the number of people that you can expose and reach with your gift. Times the value that you are willing to accept. And it's the maximum value, or minimum value you're willing to accept. Usually we live in a world of minimums. The universe gives us the exact minimum of what we ask for most of the time if certain pieces aren't in place. Does that make sense? Now, if this meetup is for you, if you've ever tried to use the law of attraction and it didn't quite work the way they said it would, anybody ever have that experience? No? Everybody's here because the law of attraction works exactly the way they said it would? You're liars! Or you wouldn't be here! All right. Now, that's the first half of the equation. Okay? The second half is you have to divide that by the number of people who, A, recognize what you have to provide, times the pain that they're in, times the perceived value of what they think, of what you have to offer. Yes?
Could you give an example of that?
Sure. I meet a lot of people who, like for instance, back when a lot of people come out of hypnosis training, I'll start there. They'll invest $1,200, $3,000, $2,000 to get certified as a hypnotist. And they get out with their certificate and they know how to hypnotize people. But they won't invest the same $1,200 to learn how to go out and build and market their business. Okay? Because there's a disconnect somewhere between the ability to do the work and the ability to reach people. This is where we have the problem. It's not that we don't understand the value of the transformation that we're offering. It's that we don't follow the other two components. Usually this is the one that's missing, is the reach. We don't know how to go get the business. We're not willing to go get the business. We're not willing to get the information to go get the business. Okay? And then, of course, once you reach those people, your ability to generate value, once again, has nothing to do, at this point anymore, with the transformation you provide. It's their ability to recognize that you have the transformation they're looking for, the depth of the suffering they're in, which is how all human beings tend to make change. We don't make change until we receive some level of discomfort, some difference between where we are and where we want to be. Period. Times the perceived value of what you have to offer. This goes to their self-esteem. Do they feel that they are worth the change. These are very important because this is where the marketers get you. Okay, this is where the marketers get you. They keep pressing that pain button until you're in so much pain, you'll do whatever they say. Okay? Then they give you one little, nice little picture for you, and you just go rocketing for it. But they hit that pain button first. So the key is, remember that everybody who comes to your transformation has a need. They have a desire. If they're not buying your service, or you're getting less than what it's worth, it's here. It's this equation. Are they perceiving, is the pain they're in and their ability to recognize what you're offering matching how you're presenting it? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, yes, sir.
Could you,
I don't want to elaborate too much on this because we won't get into the drills, but yeah.
can you give a little more of the difference between the recognition of
Yeah.
perceived value of themselves?
Perceived value of the transformation you have to offer. How many of you have ever gone to a self-help seminar? Or maybe one of these so-called pitch fests, right? And they're talking about all these cool things that their clients have done and how they've helped people do this, that, and the other thing. And you're excited about it, you're ready to do it, then they roll out the price. And you go running the other way. What you have there on a surface level is, oh, he's just trying to get my money. How many people have that feeling? And I've been there too, man. Trust me. The most traumatic day of my life was the day I pointed up $18,000 for a mastermind that I didn't have. Okay? You want to talk about nervous breakdowns, Vicodin, you name it, I went through it. But what happens is what they're really saying no to is themselves. They're saying no because the gap, they know, they recognize what they want. They recognize this could get them where they want to be. But there's a part of them that's saying, no, we're not worth that. We couldn't.
But which side is it? Is it the sales side, the person that's putting it out there?
It could be.
That's not giving them enough.
It depends.
Of
It goes back.
that.
Very good question. It goes back to when I started. I talked about mindset, right? There's two ways that you will generate money in the world. One I would, and the one I embrace is one I call service versus selling. When you go to a lot of these seminars, they're going to paint very dramatic pictures of the pain that people were in. Think infomercial. Pain, pleasure. Pain, pleasure. They're going to vacillate you back and forth until you just rush for the solution. Okay? And they're going to say, it's going to go, it'll be gone next week. It'll be, okay? Here's the weird part about that. Whether you're coming from service or selling, a lot of the processes are the same. But the mindset makes all the difference in the world. And here's what I mean. When I'm selling, I'm thinking about how can I get the money in your wallets into mine. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay? When I'm thinking about selling, I'm thinking about how many buying units, which is, by the way, how the people in the speaking industry refer to you. You're buying units. You're not people, you're buying units. Okay? If you ever want to read a really great expose on the self-help industry, read a book called Sham. I don't remember the author, but if you just type sham, go to Amazon and type in sham. According to Dan Kennedy, he got it about 80% right, the guy in the book. Okay? But a lot of this is about how to get you excited, get you through certain states to get you to make a decision. Guess what? From a service perspective, we're going to do the same thing. But the difference is, when you come from a service perspective, how can I help the people that need my help? And give it to them in such a way that they can grow with it. Okay? And what happens is when you come from that place of service, you start focusing on giving instead of taking. When you come from a place of giving, from service, of what value can I offer the people, they get excited. They get empowered, and they'll naturally want more. Now, there's also one of the differences that comes in between the serving mindset and the selling mindset is the difference between tension, what my mentor Lisa Saxovich, some of you may have heard of, what they call buying tension, and pressure. Buying tension is that subtle background urging that says, oh, I want this, oh, I want this. It's like you feel that pull. Whereas pressure is, you must buy it today, it's going to be gone in 10 minutes, you'll miss out on all this, that. It's a very scarcity driven, if you don't act now, you're going to lose. That's pressure. Does that make sense? You are here because your job is to help people. You have to help them with the transformation that you provide, and you must help them with their ability to make the decision either to or not to work with you. That's it. In the system I work with, we call that committed but not attached. In some of the old magical systems, they would call this approach, the selling take, pressure, 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 lust for results.
What?
Lust for results.
Oh, yeah.
When making the sale is more important to you than serving the person in front of you and making sure that what you have to offer is a fit for them, now you're selling. Does that make sense? If you know that what you have is a fit for them and they don't know it yet, you have to find out how to get them to realize if it's a fit for them or not and give them the autonomy to make the decision. We'll talk a lot about autonomy when it comes to the taking action part of tonight, because it's not just about programming your future. It's not about not about limiting your beliefs or removing limiting beliefs. It's about learning how to get in the game, how to take action, how to start asking for the money you need in order to help the people the way you need it. Because that's what it comes down to. If they're not willing to do their part, you can't help them. You see the difference in the mindset? Is it obvious? And trust me, how many people here are in a service or healing-based profession and hate to ask for the money? You'll get over that after a while. Okay? If you understand this. And the first time you ask for a lot more than you're used to asking for, and you get it. Quantum leap. The minimum value you're willing to accept. Do you know how many people spend tens of thousands of dollars to learn NLP and master practitioner, trainer, and are still treating clients for $100 an hour? Why? Do you realize how desperate people are for what you have? If you're in the sales profession, if you just make this one switch and you talk to people from this place, how can I make sure that what you need is what I can give you? Yes?
I bet you would still have to go into circles with an equal amount of self-esteem where the person also is willing to perceive that same value.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a little flaw that I'm thinking, because all money is a matter of zeros.
Is it?
So I'm worrying about paying my mortgage at whatever, $400,000 house, and somebody else is worrying about paying their mortgage for a $1.4 million house. We're the same people, the same thing. We each have a house. It's all it is. It's a matter of zeros. So if I want to go in those circles where those people have that self-image of $1.4 million house, then I could ask for and believe and perceive $350 an hour instead of $100.
Here's my question. Do you really believe it?
Believe?
That you have this?
No, I don't. That's why I'm here.
That's exactly my point. Remember, I talked about, when we talked about big value, little value, there's two kinds of beliefs that you have. Beliefs you know about and beliefs you don't. Okay? I'm going to run you through a very cool process very, very, very soon that will actually help to start removing a lot of that stuff. It's very, very cool. Okay? Remember, I only have a couple of hours, so I have to go fast and I have to just hit the key points. Make sense? Okay? But I just want you to understand this value. This is something that just came to me, kind of like an inspiration. It's like, well, wait a minute. What? People are always trading time for money, and they're afraid to ask for the money. Why are they afraid to ask for the money? It's because they don't think they're worth it. And I could get into a whole bunch of stuff, but let me just move on with this. Okay, first thing we're going to do. Did I answer enough questions about this part? Everybody okay with that? Okay.
That equation is awesome.
Thank you. All right. So, if we've ever had a challenge where we had something really cool we want to do and we got off to a great start and then we just kind of petered off, usually goes back to a self-esteem or self-value issue. Okay. What we want to do now, though, is we want to focus on what do we want? By the way, this part of this comes from a program called Money Magnet, which was created by a guy named Tom Bazzini. Give him full credit for that, although it's not exactly what he does. It's kind of David's synthesis. I never take credit for the source. I take credit for the synthesis. So what you're seeing is the world according to David. Do you deserve to have it? By the way, when we go through this process and we ask, do I deserve to have it? There's only two possible answers, isn't there? Yes, and what? What if you get that? Oh shit. Pardon my French. You have two choices. This is called a decision tree if you follow any kind of like medical studies or medical process. This is a decision tree. I either fix what needs to be fixed. This is so cool. I can still get it if I don't deserve it. Want to know how? Tithe it.
What's that? Tithing.
Tithe it. Now, this is not the tithing you're used to. One of the reasons a lot of times tithing doesn't work, what I call the apples for oranges principle. It's one of the reasons why also you have to be very careful with barter. People think if I give something, I'll get something else. People like to trade time for money. Not a good idea. I'm a certified pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist. I'm a Reiki master. I do Huna. I do Hermetic magic. I do a lot of very esoteric energy healing disciplines. I'm also a licensed acupuncturist, certified hypnotist, neurolinguistic programmer. I don't do Windows, but whoa! I also am a certified theta healer. I'm also an 8th degree black belt in Okinawan and Japanese martial arts. Okay, I know a little bit about this stuff. I just completely lost my train of thought. Tithing, thank you. Most people, when they try to, you gotta watch out. The reason I went into the whole pranic healing thing is because you have a question, Josh. What is it? Oh, you just had no.
This is weird because that's why I came here. Like the window thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my little brothers are kind of in a spot where we're going to inherit a window business for doing commercial windows.
That's called synchronicity.
That's just.
All right. Woo! Tithing. The real law of tithing works exactly like this. If you do this way, two things you have to understand about tithing. Mindset and apples for apples, oranges for oranges. You cannot give apples and expect to get oranges. Now, this is a spiritual level. In order to really manifest, you have to be congruent on all three levels: spiritual, mental, physical. Okay? I'm not saying you can't make money without being extremely spiritual. Usually if you have a really big, strong base chakra, you're going to be drawing in money left and right. It's just you're pretty territorial about it. Okay? But here's the thing. You must give what you want to receive as precisely as you can. That's one way to get something you may not deserve. Here's how you gauge how much to give. How much it hurts. Here's what I mean. The only way that you're, from a tithing perspective, I tell my mastermind students, get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's this little bubble that we all move through the world in. Inside that bubble, life is safe and happy, we're content. The minute we step outside the bubble, we start to get tense, we start to get nervous, and we start to get a little fearful. The biggest problem, especially when you go to a lot of these self-help seminars, is your bubble is here. What they want you to go for is all the way out here. It's too big a leap for most of us. So I created this concept we call bucket listing. Bucket listing is just taking that distance and parsing it down and just making it a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit uncomfortable. That's doable for most people. Okay, if you look at a lot of the way I structure a lot of my programs, that's exactly what I do. Okay? A lot of that had as much to do with my internal beliefs as it did with the strategy behind it. But how does this work? The more you're willing to go outside of your comfort zone, to invest scarce resources, the more powerful the message you send to your unconscious mind that you deserve it. The only way the unconscious mind changes is through the perception of effort. There's two ways it perceives effort. Action, or / emotion, and repetition. Of those components, the most powerful one is action. The more action you take, the more powerfully your self-concept and self-identity changes.
What was the component?
Action and emotion. I'm sorry, emotion and action and emotion and repetition. Okay. So,
David,
yes, sir.
are you saying that there are different things in a sense? Is action like...
You can think of effort
Repeating
as being
a bunch.
action or being emotional intensity.
Okay.
Remember, the unconscious mind can't tell the difference a lot. But that's one of the weird... But the other thing is, if you did nothing but understand this, the missing component in the law of attraction is action.
Big time.
Period. End of story. That's why the law of attraction does not work for a lot of people. I was on a forum the other day, and I couldn't believe what I was reading because it was just so perfect. It was, I won't mention the name of the forum, but the guy was talking about, I've tried doing this law of attraction over and over again, and every time I do it, there's this little voice inside my head that says I'm lying to myself.
Because you are.
Because I'm waiting for something to happen and nothing does. Nothing will happen until you take action. That's the hardest part. We can create all these wonderful daydreams and fantasies in our own head, but until we actually start taking some form of action, it does not have to be big. In fact, the more advanced, this is really where this whole law of attraction concept is derived from. The whole concept is, when you're first learning this, your actions do have to be big. They have to be committed. They have to be dedicated. As you get used to this process, the scope of the action that you take to start manifesting faster becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. That's how it works. Okay? But there's another way. This is another kind of tithing that nobody talks about. Help other people get what you want. Here's the cool thing. If we dialogue with our unconscious mind and we say, do I deserve to have this? And you hear, no! A lot of times, it'll block you, especially if it knows your game, your tricks. That's one of the reasons that's called hypnotist disease. A lot of hypnotists start to develop this belief that they can do hypnosis and NLP and change work on other people, but it won't work on them. Because they know their own tricks. And they categorize hypnotists into one of two people. Either they don't know as much as I do, therefore they're not good enough to change me, or I know what he's doing, so I'm not going to let it happen. That's hypnotist disease. That's why a lot of hypnotists stay stuck. Make sense? But if there is somebody, like say you want to add more money to your bottom line. And again, you don't have to do it this way. This is your choice. This is just another way that I've learned through one of my mentors, a guy named John LaTourette, who's made more money than McDonald's sells hamburgers, selling really bad stuff. And when I mean bad, I don't mean in terms of the information. I mean in terms of, like, he stuck a Betamax on a tripod in the back of his living room and talked to it for an hour and didn't bother to edit it before he sold it. Okay? Information's pure gold, but the quality of it is... Okay? But here's what he's telling us, and what it's proven. If you're having a block in your life, this is cool for you guys who are in the healing professions. If you're having a block in your life, help somebody else who has the same block in their life. When you do that, A, you see the problem from a different perspective. By proxy, you're helping to heal yourself too. Because many times we can't see our own block. But going through the process with somebody else opens that up for us. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to lead you through, that's the third question. Our third question is, am I capable of getting it?
Can you reword it differently, like help people get solutions to your own problems?
In other words, help people get the change in their life that you want in yours.
Right, that's what I mean, like helping people get the solutions to your own problems.
Yeah, find somebody who has the same exact problem you are, or you do. Help them solve it. And then keep helping people solve it until...
The point is just to focus is on the other person. You don't know what's going to come up.
Here's the thing. I think altruism is a myth. Okay? This is the world according to David. Altruism is a myth, perpetuated by people who want your money. Okay? When was the last time a poor person gave you money? What? A poor person never gave you money?
Oh, wow.
You're no good to the world poor. You all have gifts. You all have talents and abilities. And you deserve to be paid for that. To be compensated for the value and the transformation you bring to the world. Why aren't you asking for it? That's why. However, this is one of those ways that you can kind of bypass that process. Or I don't want to say bypass it, but fix it by helping people get the change that you want. That make sense? You're no good to the world broke. So there's an old Buddhist saying, and I changed the wording around a little bit because, once again, they're religious organizations asking for money. It says, live half for your others and half for yourself. Wrong. In the word according to David, live half for yourself and half for others. You have the right to have your needs met. Okay? There's an old Kabbalistic saying. If I have a, let me use, can I use you? Just real quick. It's a real quick demo. It's not even to put you in trance. It's just one of those. What's your name again?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, I'm David. It's a pleasure. I think we met at the one, wasn't that? Okay. Maybe that was somebody else then. All right. So let's say these are candles, right? And I have two candles. Well, let's say I have one candle. And it's got a nice bright light on it. Okay? And I give her my candle. How much light do I have left?
Yes.
Say none. It's not a question. But let's say that she has a candle. Maybe it's not lit. But I have a candle that's lit. I light her candle. I show her how to light her candle. Now we both have light. Thank you. Simple demonstration, but it's important on a number of levels. It goes back to the mindset, service versus selling. If I show people how to get the transformation, I'm helping them light their candle. I'm showing them the difference between desire to receive for the self alone versus desire to receive for the sake of sharing. By the way, there's some really keywords in the self-help industry. You ever caught yourself saying, I only want money so I can help other people? Anybody ever hear? Not him. He's like, no, get to the bottom line, dude. I can tell the businessman of it. I'm paying $15 for this.
I do.
Okay. Here's the deal. When your needs are met, you can give more. You feel better about giving more. You're not worried about your rent. You're not worried about the car payment. You're not worried about the overhead. So you can give and feel good about it. If somebody does not see the value in what you're offering, it's not about you. It's never about you. Once you've taken care of that, it's never about you. It's about them. If what you have is a fit and they don't see it, that's okay. Be committed to them deciding, are they for it or are they not? Your commitment is to them making a decision, not to what that decision is. You understand the difference? But a lot of times when it comes to, like, especially when we're just starting our business, we start thinking about clients like we do dates. Here's what I mean. Guy goes out to a club, he sees this really hot girl, maybe she sees this really hot guy, and he's getting ready to go up to her, and he's thinking, okay, if this one likes me, man, I know I'm acceptable and I'm loved by every other woman on the planet. I know I'm worthy. And they walk up with that mindset. And all of a sudden, their entire dating career is based on the decision of this one person in front of them. Salespeople do the same thing. They start to approach a client, they get to the part of the close, and all the reasons of, oh, if I make this sale, I'm going to have so much. Oh, if they say no, I'm going to be screwed for the rest of the week. How am I going to recover? Right? Yes. I was door-to-door sales. I know. Trust me on this one. Okay? It's not about that. If you can take that out of the equation, you can offer them. That's the other thing about serving. We don't sell anyone. We offer them the opportunity to get the transformation they say they want. Now, I'm leaving the technical side of it out, but I'm telling you, this is mindset. If you want to make more money in your business, if you want to have some more success in your professional dating life, think about, what are you offering these people? People hate to be sold, but they love to buy. They love to buy. Give them the opportunity to buy, but don't attach your self-worth to whether they decide to buy or not. When you put that decision in their hands, you're giving them the freedom to say no, which is okay, because somebody else will fill that space. Okay? So, where am I going with this? Last thing you need to ask yourself, are you capable of getting it? Do you have the skill sets you need to get the change you want? Usually that's yes. Of all the areas I see where people get screwed up, it's not their abilities. It's their willingness and desire to actually apply it. And then ask for the compensation to get it. Okay? So this is what we're going to do first. We're going to break up into... Actually, you know what? What time is it? Screw it. Put your papers down. I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to give you 4 simple instructions. All you have... Uncross your legs. Put your hands in your lap. First, everybody stand up. Does anybody need to go to the restroom? If you need to go, go now. Come back in 5 minutes. We'll get started.